Let me preface today's entire segment on this. If, big if, the July payrolls report and the data contained in that report is anything close to accurate or reality as it relates to the status of jobs in this country, then people better start getting very, very serious about a backup plan before they become one of these statistics. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the report. I'm going to highlight some things I think are most important. Love to get your thoughts and comments as always. The markets just closed on the West Coast and they kind of got beat up a bit today. So let me start by just giving you a recap of the markets. The Dow Jones closed down 540 points, 1.2%. NASDAQ was down 468. That's almost about 2.25%. S&P fell 101 points, 1.6%. Bitcoin dropped 3%. $113,000. Bitcoin, folks, is still trading, in tandem, from what I can see, with the Nasdaq. And if you are in cryptocurrency, we're waiting for that, that divergence to occur, for it to break away. It hasn't yet. 10-year bond. The 10-year bond dropped 15 basis points today, and it finished at 4.21%. That's a massive drop in the 10-year bond. And gold, as of recording the video, metals markets are still open for about another 45 minutes. Gold is up $70 an ounce. So what's going on? Well, number one, after the jobs report was released, Trump was out, bashing, the data. And I saw just about an hour ago something posted on CNBC that he fired the Commissioner of Labor Statistics, basically saying that he said, number one, that the numbers are not accurate, but if they are accurate, because of the substantial, massive revisions over the last 2 months, that at a minimum, it's gross incompetence. So the Commissioner of Labor Statistics today was fired. And then just now, before the close, I see that Federal Reserve Governor Adriana Kugler announced Friday that she is stepping down from her role at the central bank, creating an important vacancy at a time when Trump is pushing for lower interest rates. So he'll get an appointee there, evidently. But what you have here is you've got full chaos, right? Pandemonium, shifting. This is going to bring a lot more pressure, certainly on the Federal Reserve, to lower interest rates at their September meeting. But that's still a ways away, right? And it's also going to put a lot more pressure, probably internally, on Fed Chair Powell. So again, I'm not going to dive too deep in any of that stuff, other than just to make you aware of it, because obviously this all contributed to the decline in the markets today and the ongoing uncertainty. So let me share with you, this should be relevant to everybody, especially if you are a employee of somebody. Okay, if you have a 9-to-5 job, if you rely on a paycheck from somebody other than your own business, okay, or a company in which you have started and you are an owner. We're going to close with that again. I'm going to come full circle, tell you why it's important. But let me share with you, I pulled the Zero Hedge stats today, and what it says is the July payrolls, by the way, the whisper number, the economists expected about 125,000 new jobs to be added, and what they got was 73. Okay, this is far below the 104,000. I mean, maybe it was a 104,000 estimate. The whisper number was maybe as high as 125. They got 73,000. But here is what was probably most shocking about the numbers. And again, who knows if these numbers are accurate? Who knows if this is being politicized? You guys all are going to have your own opinion on that. But again, if it's even close to reality, we've got major problems in this country with the labor market. May's payrolls was revised down by 125,000, from 144,000 to 19,000. June was revised down by 133,000, from 147 to 14. Think about those revisions. May's data, they claimed, right, 144,000 jobs were added, and they basically cut out 125 of that, only came up with 19. And then for June, they originally said 147,000, and then they withdrew or pulled back 133,000. So, whoever's coming up with these statistics at the time, this is beyond, right, gross, error. Not pointing the finger at anybody or anything, just saying, what in the heck is going on, okay? With these revisions, employment in May and June combined is 258,000 lower than previously reported, okay? And they look at the establishment survey, and then they've got the household survey. The establishment survey looks at the businesses, data collected from businesses, non-farm payrolls, number of jobs added or lost. The household survey looks at households, of course, and they collect data relative to employment status, labor force participation, and then the earnings and hours worked. Okay, so here's what the household survey showed. A drop of 260,000 workers in July, the third biggest monthly drop of 2025. And unemployment rate, it rose from 4.1 to 4.2%. You would have thought you would have got a greater increase in unemployment rate given those numbers, and we'll see what the follow-on is with next month's data. Let me talk to you about this statistic. This is obviously where we look at massive underlying weakness. There was more ugliness looking beneath the surface. We find, it says, the number of full-time jobs tumbled by 440,000 to 134.837 million, while part-time jobs surged by 237,000 to 28.43 million. So we've lost 440 full-time jobs, okay, during this period, and we've added 237,000 part-time jobs, okay? So both of those metrics are horrible, right? You want to be adding quality full-time jobs. People can't live and pay for everything that they need to pay for in today's inflated, world, on a part-time job. So many, of course, as you know, are working several part-time jobs, piecing together several part-time jobs just to make ends meet. So a massive decline in full-time jobs. Again, the big if these numbers are anything close to accurate. And a couple of the bullet points that I thought were important from this story. And it goes to the point of, people just giving up, right? How desperate are they, and have they just decided to stop looking for work? It says the number of people employed part-time for economic reasons at 4.7 million changed little in July. These individuals would have preferred full-time employment, but were working part-time because their hours had been reduced, right? Or they were unable to find full-time jobs. The number of people not in the labor force who currently want a job changed little in July at 6.2 million, but was up by 568,000 over the year. These individuals were not counted as unemployed because they were not actively looking for work during the 4 weeks preceding survey or were unavailable to take a job. So for those people basically laying on their couch that have decided not to actively look for work, they're not even counted as part of the unemployed, okay? So that 4.2% is actually higher than that. Says among those not in the labor force who wanted a job, the number of people marginally attached to the labor force changed little at 1.7 million in July. And those are the people that wanted and were available for work and had looked for a job sometime in the prior 12 months, but had not looked for work in the 4 weeks preceding the survey. Just real briefly, and I'll wrap it up. Of the 77,000 jobs added, healthcare was 55,000 added. Social assistance employment was 18,000. Federal federal government employment, lost 12,000. So there's your categories. Let me go full circle here. One of the themes I've been discussing on this show since day one is people needing to start their own business, become their own boss, even if it's, let's say for a portion of the income you generate for your family. Okay, but what's happening here when you see this this data is if it continues to get worse, okay, you're going to see more casualties. So do these people have a backup plan? If they are given, if they're terminated, they're fired, they're let go, what do they have? Do they have savings? Do they have a cushion? Are they able to support their family for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year while they are actively looking for work? And even the ones actively looking for work are not finding it, okay? So folks, please give some thought to starting some kind of a side gig, some kind of a side business. And you guys can, of course, as I've been mentioning on a lot of the last shows, my affiliate links to Corporate Direct for assisting you setting up corporations, LLCs. Please reach out to those guys if you need help. And it's easier and it's cheaper than using a lawyer. If you can afford to use a lawyer, fine, do it. If not, Corporate Direct, and also my affiliate link to LegalZoom. Give it some thought. Even if you start by going in your garage this weekend and pulling things out that you just aren't using, you don't need, and start to create some additional capital. Maybe start there, okay? And then take it to the next step, okay? Hone in on some skills that you have, something you can offer of value to the community or something, and start formulating a way to generate income outside your 9-to-5 job. If it's not from self-employment, okay? Going a little bit long today, but there's a lot of happening, a little bit of chaos. Let's see if calm returns. Because the markets are going to take this now as a sign of rate cuts ramping up, and not only rate cuts, but maybe larger cuts, maybe from 25 basis points to 50 basis points, or maybe even an emergency rate cut could be on the table. The markets are going to start to digest this. I wouldn't be surprised to see a bounce in the markets open Monday when the markets realize they're going to get probably what they want, which is the money printing machines cranking back up, lower rates, cheaper borrowing costs, and more money to slosh around the system to leverage on, right? So with that being said, appreciate you guys. If you like the content, please hit the like button for me. I should say, if you enjoy the content, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel so we can keep growing the community and training these algorithms. And as I always say, leave your thoughts and comments. I do read them and appreciate that very much. So with that being said, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.